Steve Pratt, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at United Way of Chatham-Kent. And joining us on our daily update today, we're speaking with two small business owners and how they are adapting and changing and are available options small up aren't necessarily helping everyone right now, but just wanting to make sure we're having a on how that's coming through. So we have Denise that's going to be joining us today from Mindful Market and Eco Hub, and we have joining us. And I guess Margery.
Well, a lot of my business initially through the January to probably end of April timeline is a lot of commercial businesses that are doing different events and projects. So it may be AGMs and things like that. So I'm renting out tables and chairs, linens, glassware, that kind of thing to those folks. Obviously, that came to a grinding halt pretty much week of March. Right. And the rest of my year is heavily reliant on weddings, stag and does, any kind of showers and things like that, where I rent out much more, doing the setups and things like that. It's very much impacted the wedding industry because they obviously aren't going to be able to have the gatherings of their families and friends attending their events. So that makes it a struggle for me trying to figure out how I'm going to coordinate what was a 6 to 8 month timeline into now being backed up potentially to July, August, September, if in fact they're able to, have these functions starting in July. And we don't know that yet.
Right, and I know that those of us that are working on the nonprofit side of things who rely very heavily upon events and things like that as well.
Grocery store, so that means that we're still able to remain open. Mm-hmm. We're really fortunate because we know a lot of businesses weren't able to do that. Having said that, it has changed a lot. I mean, because we're a specialty grocery store, we're really a place where people come in, walk around, browse, take their time, and kind of check out products that they just weren't aware were out there. And obviously that's not happening now. Mm-hmm. Still, we have a lot of customers that know us well. So we have a lot of customers who are calling. So we're doing things like curbside pickup and delivery now instead. We also have a refill station in our store so people can come in and bring in their old, laundry detergent containers, for example, and get them filled. And that's something that we've kind of, we haven't completely halted it, but we've had to make some adjustments there because it's a smaller room and we can't have customers in there. So we've had to readjust the way we do things within the store as well. And we've had to kind of set up a different way just so it's safer for both ourselves and our customers.
Mm-hmm. And I guess to either one of you, how are you? So you just talked a little bit around Denise, around how you're making some of those adjustments to still be able to provide service to your customer base and keep a revenue stream flowing to some extent. Have any of the have you been able to connect yet with any of the supports that have been made available through the either federal or provincial governments to support your business?
Yeah, we one of our biggest goals has just to make sure that we only have one full-time employee and a student, and the student's not working for us anymore. Just she's laid off for safety reasons more than anything. It's a small workspace. But my sister also works for us and she's our full-time employee. So our goal is just to keep her employed through this, and we've been able to do that. So we are currently looking into the wage subsidy program, and we haven't looked any further than that. As far as the loan program, we know that we can jump into that necessary, and I'm glad they're out there. We're just being very careful in how we approach some of
Right.
it.
Yes, and for those of you that are not aware, with the loan program, the government is currently offering a loan of up to $40,000, with 10,000 that can be forgiven if the loan is fully repaid by December of 2022. And that's definitely, a lot of businesses have seen an interruption. Do I pay the bills that I have right now for orders that I might have already placed pre-COVID that I'm now on the hook for? And before you were able to kind of adjust your supply chain side of things. And yeah, so there is some emergency things coming, and hopefully, in the case where you will be able to realizing revenue down the road to be able to repay that. All like a go through it. But, I've got a few projects that are going on, and now we're up with the response support through our local economic development team to be able to help walk you through that as a business owner. You've been able to try and adapt on your end of things, because it's a little tricky.
It's definitely tricky. I mean, I'll understand it if I've found most of my brides have decided that they're going to post. We go over exactly what they're looking for, and then they place a deposit down. So that deposit then is secured for them for when by all of those customers. So that's definitely a challenge there.
The restrictions start to lighten further down the road, but one of the last things to come back are the gatherings of large numbers of people, right? So that would definitely be challenging
Yes,
on your end.
for sure.
Have you been able to connect with any of the government supports yet for your own business?
I haven't had to do so as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
That may change depending on how much longer we are in the situation that we are. I mean, we know May 12th is going to be the date where Doug Ford is going to be looking at lifting maybe some of the restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for what I do and where my clients are, it's for larger gatherings. So I would imagine I'm going to be on the tail end of that. It will be rolled out quite slowly. So it's going to be, a little bit here and a little bit and a little bit more. Mine, I would expect we're going to be on the back end of that.
Very good. So is there any other kind of things that you wanted to share in terms of some things that you might want to encourage others to consider doing?
Community members are really great. So, as much as you have to completely rethink do, and you have I found that been incredibly thoughtful and gracious, and they understand that we're in a difficult position. So, and I know you hear the stories of people getting frustrated with retail people and things like that, but we've been so fortunate. We haven't run into that. I think that small community atmosphere has created that, and our customers have been really great. It's nice to see, because you do worry about the impact that it's just going to have on the person's everyday, so, I just, that hope that people are still being good to one another, I think is really important to stress.
And Marge, anything that you'd like to add to that?
I think we're seeing people coming together. I think there's been a lot more community-minded folks that are kind of coming out of the woodwork almost, if you like. We're really appreciative of all of our community because CK is really a very giving community in general. And you're seeing that even now with, the curbside pickups of food at the restaurants and things like that, so that we all try at least once a week to reach out to these and say, okay, I want to order my food from you guys this week, and then move on to the next and the next one, just because I think we all recognize that these are our friends and these are our neighbors. And it's at times like this that we all need to kind of stand together for sure.
For small businesses, if businesses have gift cards available, now is a good time to purchase those, and really to be able to help again more on the cash flow side of things for the smaller businesses that might need some of that support right now. So I just wanted to share quickly just on the CK Gives piece. So through the coordinated piece coming in, and can you see the actual screen, Marge?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I have a dual monitor, and sometimes I'm not sure which ones it's showing. But for the local love in a global crisis, when we're looking to get help, so on the Get Help page, there's a whole bunch of resources that are available where we're just trying to link, direct, and connect to trustworthy, credible sources of information, as it's kind of been we've been bombarded with information and lots of supports that are available, and it can be really tricky sometimes to figure out, well, what do I qualify for? And so one of those things is that as a business support side of things, and for an employer support side, there is a link to kind of how the government is responding, and definitely on understanding. So if you've got questions and really want to know, is my business considered essential or not? I know we get a lot of questions from folks wanting to know things like that. Really, Chatham-Kent Economic Development has done a wonderful job in pulling together lists of resources that are available. And I know as a small business owner, they would love to hear from you if you're experiencing any challenges. And you'll be able to speak to an actual person who can help maybe walk you through some of these processes if that's needed. And you're a small business that's struggling. We know that there's been a whole lot of human resource challenges. It's very unprecedented times right now. A lot of folks wanting to know, it's just like they're maybe having to look at laying off people for the first time ever. How do I actually do that? What's the best way to kind of weigh my options? Do I qualify for the 10% subsidy, the 75% subsidy? Am I better to keep them on, at 3 or 4 days per week versus going to the $2,000 emergency benefit that they qualify for? So just trying to kind of weigh out all of your options that you have available to you, just to ensure that, we've heard loud and clear from employers that, taking care of their people is definitely at the top of their list, and supporting their customers and being there to be able to keep business flowing is always good. But these are some things that we've never really had to face before. A lot of us that are operating businesses and trying to kind of figure out what we can and could be doing to ensure that our folks are well taken care of. And lots of things too, even tips for preventing COVID-19 in the workplace, and even how to clean and disinfect certain workspaces and stuff like that in areas where the public are in. It's just like these are all kind of some new skills we've been learning, and clearly if you're working around food, you're usually more up to speed on a lot of these things, and doing this on a daily basis. But other ones where it's more of an office environment or things like that, it's just like you haven't had to really go through and deal with all of that before. So there's a whole lot of lists, or a whole lot of supports that are available for our local small businesses. And probably the biggest thing to take away from this is that if you are a small business in Chatham-Kent and you are having questions, do connect with the local Chatham-Kent Economic Development Department who can help walk through some of these things. So I wanted to thank you both so much for taking a few minutes of your day just to be able to talk and help to share news of how COVID's actually impacting our local businesses here, and some tips on how folks can help connect with your businesses still and continue to support the wonderful work that you're doing in our community. Is there any closing comments that you would like to make?
Well, thanks
I'd
so
like to
much.
thank.
No, thanks so
sorry,
much
go ahead.
for having us.
for sure.
Community members
I'll
through the
have even
nonprofits that we're getting a lot of information out from, and that's amazing that we're seeing that. And just a shout out to Mindful, they have awesome jerky in there. If you ever want to get any really
Yes.
good jerky,